Well, good morning and welcome back to a live episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Today is Monday, October 31st. It is Halloween, hence the spooky music in the background. Hopefully you enjoyed that little bit and that brought a smile to your face. Today, like I said, today is Monday. It is episode number 454 of a show where you join me with my family on Our Small Farm and Homestead, a show where we talk about the 5 W's and how as we grow all the various businesses here at York Meadow Farm. And that's right, because it is today, it is a Monday. We are doing a market recap from the weekend, and we are going to talk about the Goblins, Ghosts, and Goats event that took place Saturday night over at Whispering Acres Animal Sanctuary, along with the final second annual Fall Vendor Fest series at Richardson Farms that took place Sunday. But before we get into that, and before we really get into the show, let's go ahead and take a moment to mention our sponsor. For those of you who are watching, you can see that the sponsor is York Meadow Farm. We've got a banner across the bottom, and the long and short of it is, if you want good quality lacto-fermented foods, small batch, hand produced by my father and I, and natural bath and body products produced by my mom and myself at times, York Meadow Farm is the place to be. Listeners of this show can get a pretty nice discount simply by entering All Around Growth at the discount at checkout. And by all means, if you are listening to this show and you want to support the show, you like the work that we do, you like the content that we're producing, you like the community that we're building, you dig this and you want to support it, yorkmeadowfarm.com is the best place to go. And you can get, as our way of saying thanks for doing that, All Around Growth at at checkout as your discount code will get you some pretty substantial savings. So thank you for your support. Also, I would like to say thanks to Food Forest Farms for the ability to help us with streaming of this show. A lot of ideas that we are doing and implementing now have come from collaboration with Brian over there at Food Forest Farms, who is doing a number of things, including coffee. And, I don't want to say last but not least, let's talk about the Squash Fest. All right. Coming up in June of 2023, there is a celebration of music, art, and light over in Washington, the second annual Squash Fest, I believe. So if you are interested in learning more about that, then definitely check out Food Forest Farms, because like I said, as far as I can tell, well, I haven't said this yet today, but I've said this in the past. As far as I can tell, that is going to be a celebration worth attending if you can make it. Foodforestfarms.com, yorkmeadowfarm.com, sponsors of today's show. And of course, I'll just throw Buzzsprout out there for hosting the podcast. If you are ever interested in hosting a show, please do check out Buzzsprout. There will be a link in the show notes on the podcast for you to see that easily. So without further ado, let's talk about the weekend. And this, guys, it's October 31st. It's kind of like the end of market season. We're coming up on the close of it, and it feels a little strange, there, and it feels a little strange because there is some uncertainty on the horizon, and we'll get to that in a minute as well. But one thing, one thing that I'd like to do real quick while it's on my mind, bear with me, those of you in the audience on the audio stream, as I try to figure out a way to looks like I can't do this on Telegram, but I can at least go live. I can go live via audio. So for those of you who are out there in Telegram land, hello there. And for those of you who are out there in video land, good morning and welcome to the stream. Like I said, today we are talking about the weekend market recap, and we are talking about the two events that we attended this weekend at Whispering Acres Animal Sanctuary and Richardson Farms. The first event over at Whispering Acres Animal Farm Sanctuary was an event titled Goblins, Ghosts, and Goats. Now, before we get into the actual event, let me tell you a little bit about Whispering Acres Farm Sanctuary, right? So Whispering Acres Animal Sanctuary's mission is to inspire compassion for all beings by offering a safe, welcoming space where people and farm animals come together to experience growth, healing, and connection. At Whispering Acres, we provide high-quality, specialized care to rescued farm animals, offer inclusive, humane education programs for learners of all ages, and provide animal-assisted therapy to adults and children in need. Whispering Acres Farm Animal Sanctuary advocates for education and nonviolence towards animals, and we are dedicated to raising consciousness of the abuse and neglect that many farmed animals face. Okay, so there is some additional information here about what a sanctuary is, and they have been a farm animal rescue, education, and protection institution since 2020, a public 501c3 charitable organization. Now, they've been at this location, which is literally across the street and maybe 2 driveways down. They've been there for about a year, and they moved into Craig's old place. And I got to know Craig not well, but definitely well enough. And basically got to know him right when we were getting started here, building the high tunnels and doing everything out front. And he was very excited to see what we were up to and to share in what we were doing, and sold us some benches and a bunch of potting materials, stuff for seedlings and things like that. He also introduced me to our mechanic, the mechanic that I use primarily, and just a number of other things. So he's a good guy to know. And I hadn't had the opportunity to meet Janelle and Scott, I believe, from Whispering Acres yet, but I was down at the local bar just a mile down the road, and I was grabbing a sandwich and a drink at something at some point. And as I was leaving dinner, I saw this truck out in the parking lot, turned around, went back in, and I said, "Hey, who's got this Whispering Acres truck?" And they thought, "Oh, geez." I said, "No, don't worry. It's fine. My name is Rob. I'm your neighbor. I live across the street from you. And I've been meaning to get over to your place and say, hey, but since your truck is here in the parking lot, and I suspected you were here too, so I figured I'd come introduce myself now." And that was a fun first introduction. And they are nice people. And subsequently, they hosted an event last night called Saturday night rather, called Goblins, Ghosts, and Goats, where they wrote, "We are opening up the sanctuary for a spooktacular event. We will be showing The Nightmare Before Christmas on the big screen. The community has been great to us, and we want to give back. Bring the family for an exciting evening filled with Halloween fun. We will have homemade apple cider and snacks available, as well as a bounce house. Being here in the country, trick or treating is not an easy thing. Bring your candy in a lawn chair and pass out candy and meet your neighbors. Prizes for the best costume. We invite local vendors. If you would like to set up a table as a vendor, there's information to contact her. There were Halloween games and fun, and the admission price was a non-perishable food item per person, so we can stuff the bus and donate the items to Cups Cafe. Stuff the bus. That's what this old Volkswagen bus was. They were putting all the items in the. My focus was just getting there and setting up the table, and we kind of got there a few minutes late. So anyways, that's what the bus was. Needless to say, they closed this out by saying, join us for acres and acres of fun. Looking forward to a great time. They do have acres and acres back there. It was a very good time. We were set up next to the folks at Stout Lumber down the road. Good people there. And it was just a nice time to connect with neighbors, hand out far too much candy to the kids, and much to the chagrin of many parents. But hey, that's what it's all about, and that's what Funkle Rob does. All right. So Saturday was a very nice night. They have a really, really nice property, and it's unfortunate that Craig had to sell that, but I understand. Sometimes properties become too much to manage when we get older in life. But what's really nice about that property is the cabin and such is down by the road, and then up on the hill they've got this pond, like way in the backs, and it's a good sized pond. It's probably a quarter-acre pond. And then they've got some acreage surrounding that in the back. So it's a really nice property with a creek running through it as well. Very, very, very solid. So it was very cool to get back there and explore it a little bit more. I hadn't really done that with Craig. Just got back there to pick up stuff that that he sold me at a deep, deep discount. One of the benefits of knowing your neighbors and building and growing and cultivating community wherever you live, whether it's for the short or long term. So that was Goblins, Ghosts, and Goats on Saturday night, guys. We had a great time meeting the neighbors there. And Sunday was the fifth. Yeah, it was the fifth Fall Vendor Fest series at Richardson Farms. And this is the second annual Fall Vendor Fest series over there. And what they offer at Richardson Farms is a fun day of shopping, food, and fall festivities. And the vendors that are there, including ourselves, cover a vast variety of products from bakery to clothing, dog treats to body products, crochet items to woodworking, and of course, us with our fermented goodies. And over there at Richardson Farms, they've got a bunch of mums, pumpkins, fall decorations. They're also doing hay rides to the pumpkin patch, and they always have some kind of food vendor there. For the past couple of weeks, it's been swine barbecue from, as a matter of fact, right on the square, and not just on the square, but we love swine barbecue. We love Brian and his family. They make great food, and we are big supporters of them. And it's great to see them over at Richardson Farms 2 weeks in a row. There was also Todd from Moonstone Coffee. Todd's a great dude. He wanted to pick up some fermented jalapenos and gladly accepted a barter for I'm trying to think. It was a sugar bush latte. And what he does is he makes these lattes with a little bit of maple syrup, not too much, but man, it is delicious. So got the hookup from Todd on a barter situation with or for some fermented jalapenos for some good coffee. That event went well. Sold a lot of stuff, left a couple more cases of product over there at Richardson Farms, who has gladly supported us by selling our product in their coolers. And they seem to be selling a lot more of it. Word's getting around that we've got our product there, and their store is growing. You know, they've got a lot of stuff. You can really do all of the shopping you really need to do at Richardson Farms. It's very cool. They've got a nice setup. They've got easy access, a lot of parking, and what they are doing there collectively as a family is quite awesome. They've been there for 6 generations. That's Richardson Farms in Medina. Basically, you're just taking Lafayette Road to Lodi, shoo, straight south, and you'll see them on the right-hand side. Super easy to get to, and we are very grateful to be working with them and having them support us in the way that they do. And we are happy to support them by being present at this second annual Fall Vendor Fest series. And, you know, hopefully this winter they will be hosting another winter market, and we will be present there again. And speaking of winter markets, that is a good segue into what is coming up next, because at this point in time, the Fall Vendor Fest series is over. The farmers markets are over, and we are not doing any markets consistently, or actually any markets at all at this time. So what's next? Well, okay. What is next is, like I said, a winter market coming up at Richardson Farms. As far as I can tell, they will be doing that again. And then there was another market at another local garden center, Boyert's Farm and Greenhouse, that there's been a lot of chatter about with local vendors. And I've had some dialogue with Boyert's over there, but I'm not exactly sure what the status is with our presence there at that market. So I figured the best thing to do would be to simply drive up there and make a visit and just make an inquiry and really express our desire to get in there, because it appears to be a good market, and it doesn't coincide with Richardson's market. But last year they did them on alternating weekends, so it was really a big benefit to vendors that participated in both of those markets. So, you know, fingers crossed, we'll see what we can do. But I feel like maybe I dropped the ball a little bit or something with my communications to them. So we'll see what happens there. Now, what's next on the agenda, in addition to the potential for Boyert's, and again, we're hopeful for that, but we have been accepted. York Meadow Farm has been accepted, apparently, to be vendors at Meijer supermarkets. And we are excited to report that. That is exciting news. And we were just notified of that last Thursday. So today I will be reviewing and inputting information about our products on a new item submissions vendor template and sending that off, where we will be providing our item descriptions, the product size, the case pack, the case cost, unit cost, retail cost, markups, and product descriptions. So, and how it should be handled, refrigerated, shelf stable, frozen, all of that. So this is exciting because we are on the cusp of unexplored territory. And initially, as I thought about some of the disappointment, where thinking that maybe I dropped the ball with communication to Boyerts or what have you, the reality is, if that doesn't work out, and even if it does, a lot of our time, effort, and energy may be put towards the fulfillment of orders coming in from grocery stores. And that's exciting to think about, but it's also a little bit scary. I'm not going to lie. So, you know, more on that as time goes on. So be sure to stay tuned for the podcast to learn more as I share more as we go through this process about moving product into grocery stores. Okay. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, tomorrow, I think we are going to talk about dog food. I had to go through a little bit of a dog food transition recently. Talked about that in the Telegram group, and I figured why not share some of my experiences in going through this dog food transition and how I feel about dog food in general, and do a show on that. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. If you are interested in that, we will be doing another episode right here at 8 o'clock live. And with that, guys, I would just encourage you again to check out the show sponsors, foodforestfarms.com, yorkmeadowfarm.com, and then check out the show notes for the podcast, which you can see in your favorite podcast player for everything that was discussed today, as well as the description in the YouTube video for links to everything that was discussed as well. So, guys, we'll see you tomorrow as we talk about dog food. And I very much appreciate you being here with me today. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.